All right, guys, welcome back to another video. So yesterday we got the Circana results for the video game industry for Matt Piscatella, formerly the MPD group, who puts out their statistics for game sales and the industry overall on a monthly basis. We got it for September, and as we know, Starfield released in September. Now, when Starfield did release, we've already seen some of the major numbers that did come out, like the 10 million players that have jumped in, but there was always this narrative that goes on when it comes to Xbox first party games. The fact that they're dropping day and date into Xbox Game Pass, you always have people out there trying to make it seem like this will hurt the game, this will hurt the sales, and it just isn't sustainable. Now, we've seen multiple examples already throughout the last number of years where that obviously is not the case. We talked about Lies of P yesterday, how they sold 1 million copies already, even though it was a day one Xbox Game Pass game. And we have another narrative crusher here with Starfield destroying the narrative that Game Pass is bad for games and games are not going to sell well because of it. Matt Piscatella here has the results saying that Starfield was the best-selling game of September, instantly becoming the 7th best-selling game of 2023 year to date. And Starfield ranked as the best-selling title of the month across both Xbox and PC, with PC being its lead platform. And we took a look at some of the games that it beat out, some juggernauts. I mean, Mortal Kombat 1, an incredible game. I have it. I love it. Starfield sold more than it. EA Sports FC 24, which is one of EA's biggest games every year. It's usually at the top of the list throughout the entire year. Starfield sold more than it. So just a massive win here for Starfield. And the fact that it proves again that Game Pass is not going to be something out there that kills the games themselves. It's not going to be something that hurts the sales of these games. If it is a good game and it drops day and date into Xbox Game Pass, a lot of these developers and publishers who put their games to the service are going to get the best of both worlds. They're going to get that deal from Microsoft. Obviously, this is different for Starfield because it's first party, but they're going to get the deal from Microsoft, make a bunch of money off that. They're going to get access to 30 plus million subscribers instantly, and they're still going to be able to sell their game at full price, and they're going to be able to sell a lot of copies. Now, we have this here as well in terms of just how successful Starfield is as a Bethesda IP. So this here is from Twitter account John Welfare saying Bethesda has never had a number one ranking title before Starfield. And they list the games here, and this is in terms of unit sales. Oblivion was the number 3rd game on its release, March 2006. Fallout 3 was number 3 on October 2008, and that was for Xbox 360 only. They say here that PC and the PS3 might have put them at number 2. Skyrim was number 2 in November 2011 when it released. Fallout 4 was number 2 in 2015. And Fallout 76, when it released, was number 4 in 2018. Starfield now here comes in at number 1 in 2023, just showing how big of a game this is and how much anticipation there was as a brand new IP from Bethesda. And I think by all accounts, it's really has lived up to the hype as to what a lot of people were expecting with this game. And Matt Piscatella also confirms a little bit here about the dollar amounts. There was only one other game that was actually number 1 in terms of the dollars, and that was Oblivion back in March of 2006. And Starfield still is bigger than Fallout 3, Skyrim, Fallout 4, Fallout 76 overall on most accounts. So Starfield is a massive release. It was extremely successful. And if you remember back to the whole Redfall release and how bad that was, Phil Spencer came on to the Kind of Funny podcast and essentially explain what was going on, apologize for the release of Redfall. One of the main things he did talk about was he said that Starfield, even if it's an 11 out of 10, it's not going to push the Xbox Series X and S consoles to be like the number 1 selling in the industry. And that here as well is proven. It did move the needle, but it did not surpass PlayStation 5 in terms of console sales in September. We have this here from Matt Piscatella again saying video game hardware spending fell 8% when compared to a year ago to $451 million. Single-digit percentage growth in consumer spending on the Xbox Series hardware was offset by declines across both the PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch. However, the PlayStation 5 remained the best-selling hardware platform in both unit and dollar sales during September 2023, with Xbox Series again ranking second across both measures. And the PS5 continued to lead the 2023 hardware market across both units and dollars sales. So right there you have it. Starfield did extremely well, sold on all of the platforms it was available, but it still wasn't enough to push the Xbox to sell more than the PS5 in September. But this isn't surprising at all. And this is why the Xbox strategy is the smarter strategy going forward. Like for Xbox, it's going to be the same strategy that PlayStation does try to employ, because there really is only a finite number of people that are willing to go out and buy a console. But when you're opening your ecosystem to everybody, you don't need to worry as much about being the second best selling console, because you're still selling your game everywhere else and still raking in a ton of money. And I don't think in any way this is to suggest that Xbox is going to abandon the console. I think they still very much know that's a huge part of their market. But Phil Spencer, when he came out and said that thing about even if Starfield was an 11 out of 10, they wouldn't be able to surpass PlayStation in console and hardware sales. Again, he is proven correct again. A lot of people try to take those quotes out of context. I made a video about that back when that happened to kind of explain what Phil Spencer was really saying. So interesting to see these statistics here play out just like he did say. Now, when it comes to the mobile side of things, as we know, Activision Blizzard was purchased mainly for mobile gaming. And Phil Spencer talked about this. And one of the things I think people have the question of is, does this mean they're really going to transfer all of their IPs and make mobile versions of them? Is this going to take away from creating the big AAA games and creating the console versions of these games? Kind of gives us clarity on here. And this is good to hear. This is what Phil Spencer says. He says, there's just no way to really plot the future without being on the platform that most of the planet plays on, which is mobile, which is 100% true. He says the games are different. The business models are different. The whole dynamic of how you distribute, how you find games is different. So when I was looking at that, I needed to find a team that's had amazing success for us to learn from. So literally Amy Hood, who's the CFO of Microsoft, and I went through a list of who are the most accomplished publishers in the mobile space. And most people wouldn't have expected, I think, I didn't, that Activision would have been as high with the King work as well as with Call of Duty mobile work, Warzone stuff that they've been doing, Diablo Immortal. And so I want to go and learn from those teams, because I think it's critical for us to deliver on the full promise of over 2 billion people playing, the opportunity to reach more of the 3 billion people playing video games, to reach more and more people, that people who only play on their phone find Xbox to be something that's interesting to them. Now, here's the important part if you're wondering about the IPs and stuff going to mobile. He says, it doesn't mean I want to turn all of our franchises into mobile franchises. It doesn't mean everything is going to be free to play. I think the distribution and business model diversity that we have is a strength of the platform. People who want to buy games, I love that. People who want to subscribe to their games, it's great. So he expands on where they're going with mobile. And he also talks about how free-to-play games are great, and he's really looking forward to learning on mobile, because the truth of the matter is, if you're going to continue to be relevant in a gaming at a global scale, you're going to have to find a way to be relevant on the largest platform, which is mobile. We all know this. This isn't anything new, but I think he does. What I like here is he does clarify that potentially not every single IP is going to transfer over into a mobile port, because if they do that, they're either going to have to free up some resources from the people working on the big AAA games, or create smaller teams within all of these studios with more employees to create these mobile games if they don't want to hurt the actual resources used for the bigger games. We'll see how it all plays out. I'm not a mobile gamer. I really don't play any mobile games whatsoever. They don't grab my attention. But if Xbox were to actually open a mobile store, which they said they were planning on doing to go ahead and compete with Apple and Google, and they integrate that into the entire Xbox ecosystem where they're adding in achievements and they're adding all that to your overall Xbox profile, and maybe some of these games are deeper than what we can expect from mobile games, I will potentially end up checking it out. I mean, Call of Duty Mobile, I've played some of that like a while ago, and it seemed okay, but still, playing on your phone and everything just wasn't for me. So it will be interesting to see how Xbox turns some of their IPs into mobile versions. I mean, we're seeing this from Nintendo. They've done it with a bunch of their Nintendo IPs, like Mario Kart and stuff. We're seeing this from PlayStation. They're going to continue to make PlayStation games. They have a whole section of their company now focusing on PlayStation Mobile. So mobile is going to be a major part of all of these 3 big companies, the big three in gaming, to try to advance the line in terms of getting more market share. It's really going to come down to who can do it the best. And right now, as Xbox stands with the amount of games that they do have with having Activision Blizzard, they are in a very good position going forward. And this will just, at the end of the day, if their mobile side is successful, increase and improve the other side, which I think most people watching this video probably care about, which is their main AAA console and PC games. Now, let's jump over here and let's talk about Halo Infinite, because Halo Infinite is surging again, and I'm so happy to see this. Halo is, I'm saying, as of right now, is back. I mean, it was always good. It's been good since launch, in my opinion. Probably the best gameplay in the series. And yes, there were content issues, but those content issues actually went away faster than a lot of people think. You see a lot of people now on social media saying, oh, Halo's finally good, go play it. But the reality of the situation is Halo has been good for a while. Most people were just sticking on that same old narrative from when it first launched, that there was no content, which has been false for a number of months now. But we're seeing it here jump back up in the charts on Steam specifically. We don't really know the Xbox charts, but I'm sure it's high as well. And Halo Infinite is now number 6 in terms of the Steam top sellers in the US and number 15 globally. And this is just after the latest Season 5. And I expect these numbers to probably continue to increase as more people are talking about how good Season 5 is, how good Halo is again. And we'll see those numbers surges surpassed, I believe, 10 to 15K concurrent players on Steam, which is something we hadn't seen since I think 2022. So it's on the upward slope. And that's a great thing to see, because Halo is Xbox. Without Halo, there's no Xbox, in my opinion. I mean, Halo needs to be good. Halo needs to be that mainstay franchise that no matter what happens across any of the other studios, across any of the other games, it is that game that people can relate to. And when they think about Halo, they think about Xbox. So it needs to be good, and it is. And if you haven't played it, I know I've said this in the last couple of videos, go check it out. You will not be disappointed whatsoever. And finally, let's talk about this, because this is some great stuff Xbox is doing in terms of accessibility. Their latest accessibility update adds a lot of awesome stuff. One of my favorite things that they are adding here is being able to rebind your keyboard keys to your controller, to the accessibility controller, as well as to your regular Xbox controller. As you can see here in this picture, all of your keyboard keys, A, S, W, D, anything else that you want on there can actually be bound to your Xbox controller in the Xbox Accessories app, which is a very cool thing to see happening, especially if you're obviously playing games like maybe Halo Wars or Age of Empires, where you kind of think in the keyboard buttons. So you put that to your controller, and if you want to use the controller, it could be easier to play. So that's pretty cool to see. And they're also adding new accessibility in games to the Xbox Store channel. So they're saying here the channel supports Xbox advanced filtering options, which lets players filter out accessibility takes for gameplay, audio, visual, and input features. There is contactless Xbox wireless controller pairing. I think this has been here for a while, but I just used it the other day with pairing my Xbox headset. I was sitting on the couch and it was paired to my Series S, and I was at my Series X, and I was thinking, oh, I have to get up. But then I remembered that they added this, and I was able to actually pair it directly just from sitting down. Something I wish was there for a while, but it is finally here. It just makes the pairing process way better. There's going to be a new Xbox Game Bar accessibility option. So the Game Bar now features a new accessibility settings menu with various options in there. And there is a playbook for accessible gaming events. They're sharing what they have learned through their own gaming events with a new playbook for accessible gaming events, a new tool that event planners in the industry can use to guide their planning for gaming events and improve accessibility attendees. So this is a big update here from Xbox in terms of the accessibility side, and lots of stuff here that anybody essentially is going to find useful and use. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.